Good evening. Ira Epstein with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening as we're here now on Monday, the 8th of September, 2025. So, my friends, interesting times. In my newsletter tonight, I cover Argentina, Venezuela. It's hard to believe Venezuela is suddenly deploying 25,000 soldiers to fight drug trafficking. So while nobody gives President Trump a lot of credit, all it took were, 6, 7 warships, shooting, if you will, or sinking is the right word, of a boat. And all of a sudden, Venezuela now wants to fight drugs and get rid of everything in the country that they can. You can go any way you want. President's also had some pretty good wins today by the Supreme Court. Those are things you have to think about. So before we look at the board behind me, let's take a look at what you have tomorrow. There are no major economic reports. National Federation of Independent Business, they're coming out at 5 in the morning. Red Book retail sales, they've been running 6% plus week after week the past, 3 or 4. So we'll see how they come out tomorrow. API numbers, they're going to come out at 3:30. And we had late in the day today, I think it was 2 o'clock, the Federal Reserve consumer credit numbers. And the consumers out there buying. They're not buying big ticket items as much. What they're buying are value items, but they're buying an awful lot of them. So you've got to pay attention to that. The people are buying the value meals, the restaurants, I keep reading about it. So many spots, they're hurting because people don't want to spend $100 a steak. You know, you go into a city like Chicago, you go out for a steak, $80 to $100 is common fare. I know it sounds crazy, but that's basically what it is at the fine dining steakhouses. So you got to put it all together and decide for yourself how you're going to spend your money, and that becomes the difficult part. Now, in the markets, Robinhood was one of the big winners today because they finally got the nod over the weekend. I think it's September 23rd. They get into the S&P 500. 3 stocks were doing that. 2 of them really soared today. That's often what happens. And then there's the ballyhoo wears off. The markets sort of sit back a little bit on it. As we look at everything that's going on through here, AMC is still stuck in the 280 range, doesn't move. Lilly up another $11, coming alive a bit. NVDA gained a little bit more. I'm reading so many people coming down on NVIDIA and thinking that some of these other companies are going to do so much better than them. Maybe for a certain grade of chip, not for the best of the chips, but I'll let everybody decide on their own. Metal markets exploded again to the upside. Silver really took off in a big way. I've got clients that are super happy. At 12:30 last night in the futures market, so some orders that we put in yesterday got hit, and it was a great day for some of the clients. I wish I could say it's always that way. It isn't. But the metals have been a tear to the upside. You've been holding pretty good in all the stock indices as well. The bond market, as you know, everybody's betting in a major way the Fed is going to cut interest rates, and it's the first of a cycle. I'm reading, of course, you always get the people that go, the Fed shouldn't do it. And by the way, the Fed shouldn't do it if you really look at inflation. You got stagflation. You've got rising inflation, falling employment, and falling, to a degree, wages. So the Fed, which battle does it fight? I've read all the columns by so many over the weekend, and I understand the arguments, and I don't have the right thing. I think the Fed will go with a rate cut. I think it'll be right now, from what I can see, before we see the CPI and PPI that we'll get on Wednesday and Thursday, I think it'll be 25 basis points. If those numbers come out super strong, maybe there is no cut. And if they come out real weak, maybe the Fed goes 50 basis points. You want to see that data. That's what I can tell you. When we look at Freeport, McMoran, as you can see, the market's been coming back up. It made a peak up here. Remember, it got hurt because President Trump at first put on tariffs, then he took off the tariffs, and he created a spike up, and then he created a spike down, and the miner stayed as it is. Why? Because there's a shortage. End of discussion. Do you remember that Chinese factory that flooded out? It's not coming back online this year. So you've lost a lot of metric tonnage there, and this still puts the market into play. The pattern is one of higher lows on the swing lines, higher highs, still in an uptrend, bottomed out here, pulled back a little, and then resumed that uptrend. You've stayed over the 18-day average of closes. I had an interesting question from someone, one of our subscribers, that I answered this morning in my morning subscriber video, where they asked why I use the 18-day average. We get a lot of different questions. I love to answer them. Now somebody wrote me today, would I cover UPS maybe tomorrow in answering, or this week for them? I probably will. I do that for the subscribers. But higher lows, and you've been that way since mid-August. So here we are getting onto a month later, still climbing this wall, and the market keeps going up to the Bollinger Band, keeps coming back down, and it's got an embedded reading. So until the red line closes back under 79, the pullbacks like you get in this area, still, as far as I'm concerned, buying mode, with traders taking money off against the Bollinger Band or a window envelope. And the window envelopes are in the morning subscriber video, and they look at those two numbers. In Oklo, I love that name, Oklo, market's still in a downtrend. Notice how it's riding that 18-day average lower. Each time it comes up to it, it's been failing. We'll see if it breaks that pattern. In Netflix keeps running into trouble at the upper Bollinger Band. You've got a funny pattern here of a lower low, a higher high, and you're really caught in those Bollinger Bands in an overbought market. I wrote my clients this morning before I even recorded and said, why are we playing that? Let's back away until we get a better looking chart. In United Healthcare, as I said last week, I thought you might make a run to the 100-day average in the Bollinger Band. You've got an embedded reading. Until that gives it up, that's your resistance point. Getting and staying over those numbers will not be an easy task. We'll see if it can do that soon. In Home Depot, wow. This market in mid-June was sitting here at $350 a share. You're now up to 420. So if you think the talk of lower interest rates doesn't have an impact, wrong. The tariffs really not affecting Home Depot. Not all of their products come from China. And today I was talking about how much the exports to America from China are down. And when you measure current values, about 30%. So it's really cut that business down. And what you have to be a little bit worried about for all the markets is the United States and Europe are talking, should they put sanctions on Russia, additional ones? The problem is Europe counts on Russia for $8 billion worth of natural gas. You heard me, billion, not million, not 800 million, 8 billion. Obviously, the U.S. wants us to resupply that to them. But as long as they keep buying it, how do you put the tariffs on Russia and make them stick? It's a real tricky question. As you can see here, fighting the battle. All right, Robinhood. Well, all you had to hear Friday was it's going into the S&P, went up. Notice how magically markets like to stop at that upper or lower Bollinger Band. You're still developing what I call the sideways action here, but certainly upside bias to it after it. It was just a question of when it was going to happen, not if. There was disappointment last time around, not this time. And in Tesla, you keep going back to the upper Bollinger Band and getting thrown back in the market. It's a strange market, Tesla, because I don't hear anything good about their car sales. Yet the stock continues to climb up. I guess it's on AI. I guess it's that people want to believe that Elon Musk has such a strong pay package in front of him that they will get his attention. Now, I never think he's going to reach the $1 trillion that they're talking of giving him. Do I think he can hit some of the benchmarks? I don't see why not. He's a pretty bright fella. Higher lows, higher highs, and you have a market that's overbought right now. Joby, I still want it to fall, but be careful here. If you lose the bearish embedded reading by a closing over 21 tomorrow, I think price in the 18-day average, wherever that red line is, I think they'll come together. When we look at XLF, the financial part, are lower interest rates good or bad for the financial community? got to ask yourself, ever since the jobs number came out, you had a hard reversal on Friday, and you followed through with it today. So it wasn't a fluke. When you come to the industrial sector, it just plain can't close over that 18-day average. When it does, I think you'll get a buy signal out of the market if it can hang in here. If it just gets through it and runs, well, the resistance, as I see, it's 153.68. In XLE, again on the energy, you're still fighting this all the way through. You're in a correction. It's lasted about a week and a half now. We'll see if it goes any further than that. And all the metals have been on a tear because people are seeing what you see and what I see. You have inflation that's not going away. The Fed said it believes inflation will accumulate slowly, but will accumulate, and they're not going to fight it. And yet they're going to lower interest rates if the data allows. Well, the data and the jobs allow, so now if the CPI and PPI allow, that's why you're coming up. Will there be a correction here, a shakeout? Of course there will be. Nothing grows to the sky. So just be careful. Would I tell you to come in fresh and buy a Bollinger Band? I don't think I would. Silver on a little bit of a pullback here could be more interesting than the gold for the moment. In the copper market, you can see you're still climbing up and away with the bullish reading. Until you lose these bullish readings, these markets are in strong uptrends. BND, so far over the upper Bollinger Band, I'll let somebody else want to buy that up there. It's like you're waiting for a problem. And in the dollar, while it's coming down, you're nowhere near these lows that you made back here. And this is what you really got to get under in order to prove that the market's got another leg to the downside. I call this noise right now. It's just trying to figure out what does it do next and how does it go about doing it. One of the things you can do to take advantage of what we offer are our newsletters. Now, there's many of them. You can get a trial to my S&P Spider video. Why not try that in the morning and see what my people that are with me pay for to get and see how the trade recommendations come out. It's a free look if you haven't tried it before. I do it in the futures. I do it that. I do my twice daily writings, by the way. But then it's the charting software you see here. It's our mobile app, which I think is phenomenal. Gives you our news. All my videos show up in them if you're a subscriber. So a lot to look at. IraEpstein.com, free offers. Move your cursor to the top here. There'll be an icon. Give it a click. And away you go. Just sign up for what you want. You hit the select the offer. At the bottom of the page, you put in your name, your email. We'll get everything out to you. I'm Ira. Have yourself a great evening. I will catch up with you all in the other videos tonight. And of course, first thing in the morning flash video. Take care.